There's an injury storm brewing. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Friday, March 21st. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and another day, another pitching injury. This time, Ryan Weathers will begin the season on the IL due to a left forearm strain. He'll be shut down for a few weeks and is expected to miss the first 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season. Weathers looked really good this spring, but he was also throwing with more velocity. Very likely could have contributed to this injury. Scott, is Ryan Weathers still worth drafting with one of your last picks and just stashing on the IL?
It wouldn't be my choice. I think he was already going so late, and I think you can make better use of that pick now. It's fine if you preferred Weathers among late round sleeper pitcher targets, but now you can go to one of those others before the draft is over and maybe pick up Weathers as an injury stash later. He wasn't my favorite of the late round sleeper pitcher targets to begin with because, out of velocity this spring, but he had durability concerns and the Marlins disadvantage, and I wasn't sure the added velocity was really going to amount to that many more strikeouts anyway. So I was gravitating more toward other pitchers in that very late range where Weathers goes, and now I think you can too.
With Ryan Weathers hurt, it looks like Jansen Junk is next up in the Marlins rotation, who also left Thursday with back spasms. So not expected to be a good year for the Marlins. It's already off on the wrong foot. They have a lot of injuries, and Ryan Weathers is the latest. Andrew Abbott will begin the season on the IL with the Reds as he's still building up after a shoulder injury. Carson Spires will begin the season in the Reds rotation, but I don't think we have any interest there, right, Scott? Carson Spires.
No, we don't. I will make another quick point about Weathers, since I have nothing to say about Spires, and that's if you're in a position where the draft goes really deep or you have a lot of IL spots and you want to speculate on somebody, I would prioritize Cody Bradford over Weathers in that situation, who I liked more than Weathers to begin with, and the timetable's pretty similar. So just wanted to get that in there real quick.
Let's provide some updates on the Orioles. Gunnar Henderson is apparently running out of time to be ready for opening day. Brendan Hyde added that he was hopeful. So, I don't know, kind of mixed messages there, Scott. But for people drafting this weekend, you're still okay using a late first-round pick on Gunnar Henderson, knowing what we know right now?
Yeah, I think it won't be long. Late first round pick for Gunnar Henderson. That sounds perfect for the little bit of time he's going to miss. It seems like if he does even miss time, it'll just be because the calendar ran out on him and not because he's still dealing with the injury. So I don't think it's anything to stress about too much.
Speaking of time running out, Felix Bautista is not a guarantee to be on the opening day roster. He's still ramping up in his return from Tommy John surgery. Scott, any idea who would be next up for saves here if Bautista does start on the IL?
Again, if that happens, and it's not a certainty, if it happens, it would be just because the calendar ran out and he didn't have time to build up all the way. So probably what the Orioles would do is just piece things together till he's ready to go, and there may not be one reliever to target specifically. If I had to pick one, Sir Anthony Dominguez was handling the role for them down the stretch last year. And so it would probably be him, but we're talking, I think I'd only consider adding him in like an AL only league because it's just, he's not that good. And I don't know that it would be him exclusively. And I don't think it would be him a situation that continues for long.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back right after this.
12 teams, one epic battleground, and it's the most feared of them all, San Francisco. This city is legendary for high winds, brutal tides, and an eerie, unforgiving race course. It's all or nothing.
Welcome back in FBT Express, breaking down the latest news and notes. The White Sox informed Shane Smith that he'll be part of their opening day roster. He was the top pick in the Rule 5 draft and has made some noise this spring. They didn't say he was in the rotation yet, but I kind of feel like he is. Worth a pick, picking a deeper league, a late round pick in a deeper league. What about in a head-to-head points league as a SPARP, Scott? Are you taking Shane Smith there?
I've seen him taken there. You see a lot of more obscure SPARPs get pulled up into head-to-head in head-to-head points leagues. People just rolling the dice on anybody who has a rotation spot and also relief pitcher eligibility. Like there's a Marlins disadvantage. There's an even bigger, perhaps, White Sox disadvantage. And it would take someone really special like Garrett Crochet last year, I think, to make that pick, make a SPARP more valuable than a closer in a head-to-head points league. So it probably won't be me that does it. I do have Shane Smith in a couple of sim leagues because I think his per inning production will be good. I just don't think there's going to be enough there in terms of quality starts and wins to make him worth pursuing in the typical fantasy league.
All right, Scott, your Atlanta Braves signed Alex Verdugo to a 1-year, $1.5 million deal and then optioned him to AAA while he gets built up. Do you think that he will have a legitimate role when he's ready?
So, yeah, if things don't work out with Jared Kelenic and they need more help before Ronald Acuna returns or somebody else suffers an injury, which is always possible, Alex Verdugo presents them with an alternative. It wasn't long ago that he was fantasy viable, was terrible last year, obviously, but young enough that he could get back to where he was prior to last year and be a low-end outfielder if he does find his way into at-bats.
All right, the Padres selected Gavin Sheets from AAA, which means he'll be on the opening day roster. He had a huge spring and a name that you could look at in NL-only leagues, not anything shallower than that. Apparently, the D-backs have received some trade interest in Jordan Montgomery, and Montgomery is 32 years old, coming off an awful year and due nearly $24 million. I'll tell you what, my New York Yankees, they certainly could use a reunion with one Jordan Montgomery. So we'll see what happens over the next couple days, next couple weeks. Rosters are coming out. Players are getting cut. Maybe we get some last-second trades. So we shall see.
I do want to look back at Gavin Sheets for a second because I think there is some deep sleeper potential here. He changed his stance and he's standing taller at the plate, says he's seeing the ball better. And we've seen him have a huge power output here. You look at the Padres lineup, a lot of openings there. They could use another bat. If Sheets can even work his way into a platoon role, the better half of a platoon there as a left-handed hitter. And this stance does end up improving his output. I could see him having value, probably just in deeper leagues, but I think he's somebody worth paying attention to with the way he's forced his way into the Padres lineup plans.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.